Hello, everyone, and welcome to GoziViews, a series where I give initial reviews of new games I play. This episode's game is Ghostwire Tokyo. Let me know in the comments what new games you think I should review next. Tokyo has been taken over by a ghostly apparitions called yokai, or the visitors, by an unknown and seemingly nefarious leader wearing a Henya mask. We step into the shoes of a nearly dead man named Akito, as he is possessed by the mysterious spirit KK, who has supernatural powers that appear to be perfect for vanquishing yokai. Akito's sister is captured by the yokai leader, and it becomes Akito's mission to save the souls of the 240,000 Tokyo citizens who have mysteriously disappeared, as well as finding his sister. This game is an open-world action-adventure game with horror, RPG, and platformer elements. It's a pretty by-the-book open-world game for the most part, with the large map, vendors, side missions. The side missions center around finding lost souls and fulfilling the task that's preventing them from crossing over to the next world, which I think is a pretty nice and unique quality. The map is very fun in that it's effectively two different levels of gameplay, the ground below and the rooftops. Cards on the table, the rooftops don't generally add to the gameplay's loop outside of giving the player a new set of areas to explore in Tokyo. The map controls where you go, battle royale style, by putting poisonous gas in inaccessible areas. The map view in the menu is pretty noisy by default, so I recommend filtering early to make it more readable in the long run. The general atmosphere of the setting is actually quite well done. It's very Silent Hill-esque. That said, the dialogue and the action do tend to pull you out of that sense of dread, just given the nature of the action-adventure genre. The enemies are extremely well designed and very creepy, so they really do add to the horror aspect, but mainly only in their appearance. There's a few skill trees for upgrading improved abilities, healing, and inventory management. The XP system is primarily around completing missions, side missions, and killing enemies in a special way. Progression is reasonably fast. I was able to unlock more than 20 nodes in just 3 hours of gameplay, and the perks I unlocked noticeably improved my gameplay. The inventory management is a little bit bloated and too detailed, IMO. There's a lot of different food in the game, which they all look insanely realistic and delicious, but they all do the same thing in healing, so the granularity is a little bit unnecessary. Due to the vertical nature of the map, platforming is necessary a lot of the time when collecting souls, as well as completing some missions and side missions. The main thing to remember is that you have a glide ability that can make a lot of that traversal possible, so I recommend not forgetting that like I did. I kept forgetting that I had that ability. Some of the platforming requires some timing too, which blocked me a couple of times, but it's mostly intuitive. The game looks fucking amazing. I played on PS5 and the graphics were fucking stunning. They look just like you'd be playing on PC. It's very dark and gloomy aesthetic, and it really does nail the ghostly vibe well. Pretty much the gameplay loop is to collect souls to save Tokyo and find your sister, while freeing souls along the way with side quests. The main quest is pretty obscured by all the extra stuff, I think. I think they're going a little bit overboard with the open world aspect. Don't get me wrong, it's really fun, but it just makes it so that the main plot is kind of obscured. One main quest had me scaling an entire skyscraper for literally 30 minutes, only for the protagonist to just look out of a viewing scope to find the big bad, which I thought was kind of funny and useless. There are a lot of random collectibles too in the game that can be traded for Mika, which is the currency in the game. And they're pretty much just random artifacts of Japanese culture, but it's cool for learning about Japanese culture. The game moves decently well for the first-person aspect. The aim assist ended up doing a lot of the work for me because I found it pretty difficult to maneuver the sticks without ADSing, probably because I'm used to playing on PC with mouse and keyboard. The gliding ability is extremely useful for getting around, especially on the rooftops. There's also a mechanic for getting to the rooftops quickly by finding a flying yokai to grapple on. We do lose the player abilities at some point early on in the game, but I presume we get them back at some point. I just didn't play long enough to find out when. The main ability you start the game with is a sort of finger gun that shoots wind. It's really effective for smaller adds, but the ammunition is super limited. You can get ammunition from destroying glowing objects scattered around the world, as well as defeating enemies. I find myself in arena modes running out of ammunition a lot, and I had to run around in circles until the glowing objects respawn, so try not to spray and pray too much like me. You do unlock additional powers later in the game. Generally, the enemies are underpowered until, they're not. Not really a threat until they have numbers on their side, and even then, not really that much. You can kind of run around in circles and avoid getting hit for the most part. They're very creepy and well designed though. The mini bosses are unexpectedly difficult to kill and very tanky, given the small adds are so comparatively weak. When you catch the enemies off guard and subsequently bombard them with attacks, you can usually vanquish them, even mini bosses, pretty quickly without even taking a single hit. I only fought one boss and he was quite difficult at first, but I realized pretty quickly that he had an extremely predictable set of attacks, and all you needed to do is learn and dodge them, pretty much like Dark Souls. Like the other enemies in the game, however, he was pretty easily vanquished and I did not die at all while fighting them. Arguably the most important thing I'll say in this video, you get to pet the dogs. Another really awesome thing in the game is that all of the vendors are cats and they all speak in cat puns, so I think that's pretty fucking rad. In my initial review of this game, I think it's super fun to play, but the plot is a little bit hard to follow, so if you're trying to pick this game up for the plot, you might be a little bit disappointed. For me, it looks like they put the plot on the back burner in favor for the gameplay loop, which is not a bad thing. It's mindless fun, and it's perfect for streaming because you don't really need to pay attention too hard to get it. So in my initial reaction, I give it a 6 out of 10, definitely worth picking up, but not anything revolutionary. If you like the feel of other Bethesda supernatural open world games like Dishonored or Prey, you might like this one a lot. That said, I think those are definitely better games in general. Well guys, that's my review of Ghostwire Tokyo. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to see you next time. Bye!